Alright.
Yeah, right? I don't know you. You don't know me. You don't even know my name. I haven't told you that.
Well, that's not how I intended on starting this video. So the lady who's gonna help me advocate, she has not gotten back to me today. I hope she's alright. I'll probably get a hold of her after this video and ask. This is about Alycia Bollinger, the Karens, and the Beckys. You guys know what the Karens are. You know what the Beckys are, right? The Beckys, those are the ones that are always telling you that you don't need a man. They can't get a man or keep a man, but they're going to tell you how to live your life and how to live your relationships. There's a reason they aren't in relationships. Now, you do have a lot of Beckys that are parents. They tried to man trap by getting pregnant, and it didn't work. And they hold animosity towards all men forevermore. Ugh. For me, I had to deal with a lot of, well, you guys know the type. Oh, I'm a Christian, you can't judge me. I'm going to cut off your balls, you're a Satan worshiper type. You know them. You've all met them. The ones who are, oh, you can't judge me, only God can judge me. Actually, we have judges and juries for exactly that purpose, because they can judge you. I can judge you. I can also pass judgment on you. We all can. You've been proving that quite well when you pass judgment on me. When you tell me just to let it go, just to let it go, just to let these people do it to me over and over again. Friends don't look away from stuff like this. I almost got my phone dried out. There's a lot of people that got nothing better to do with their lives than harm other people. Most atrocious. They hear something on the news or through the grapevine or through the rumor mill. That's what Chapel, Nebraska is. It's just a giant rumor mill. Nothing matters in Chapel, Nebraska except popularity, and popularity is largely based on looks and money. Just like anywhere else. So we try to sell this image of a new America, a free America, a politically correct America. No, we're only doing that on paper. In reality, it still comes down to, are you broke or not? How broke are you? Does anyone care about you? How popular are you? How good looking are you? Now, studies have shown that the thing that is most likely to pass a lie is good looks. If people find you physically attractive, they want to believe what you tell them. Whereas if they don't find you physically attractive, even if they give you the time of day, they don't actually retain most of the information. So if you're not good looking, people may give you time, but they're not actually listening to what you say. Why would they? You're not possible breeding stock. I've had a lot of people, especially women who are friends of mine, that found a jerk physically attractive. So despite his history of abuse towards both men and women, and being a bully, he was physically attractive. So she threw away all of her friends. That includes male and female friends. Now, many times you get the now that they're 40 years old and feeling sorry for themselves because they got 3 to 5 kids that they don't even know who their dads are for half of them. Run out of men who are willing to take their abuse. Run out of good men that you can sucker into raising kids that aren't theirs. And then you hold animosity for all men. And you have some personal crusade and hatred against anything with a, well, you know. Why is this acceptable? Why does our society breed such hatred towards men, especially disabled or homeless men, or broke men? And why is it that when us broke men are victimized, you throw it in our face that a bunch of rich lawmakers that don't know squat about us made laws that affect you too? Well, they affect us as well. These anti-homeless laws that were created, these anti-homeless laws across the United States were specifically created because it was no longer legal to victimize black people. So, of course, they made it nearly impossible for black people to have rights, to be heard, to own property. And then, of course, a lot of these rights that we were supposed to have, that were supposed to be for all of us, are specifically assigned only to those who own their houses. And then we make it too expensive for anybody but a land baron to own a house. You got to spend 40 years of your life trying to pay off that house. And if you lose your job, you break your back, something screwed up happens, you're SOL. You're going to lose your house and you're going to end up in a home. Screw it. Now, when it comes to being victimized as a male, and you got to try to turn it in, you're going to be ignored by law enforcement. And most of the places that you're going to go to for help, they're going to ask if you're a veteran. What the hell does whether or not I'm a veteran have to do with whether or not I'm being victimized? Or whether or not I'm eligible to turn in the abuse that I'm enduring? That's just insanity. Then there's this idea that I owe it to immigrants to fight for their rights. No, I don't. I fight for immigrants' rights because I see them as human beings, not because I owe it to them. I'm not the one that passed laws that are inhumane. By the way, there are more inhumane laws that are used against the disabled and the homeless than you have any idea about because you don't care. The news is busy shoving at you that homeless people are all bad people. And half the news is telling you we're supposed to hate Mexicans. The other half is telling us we're supposed to support Mexicans. Meanwhile, I know people who don't care if they're Mexican or not. They just assume they're Mexican. I know Puerto Ricans. Puerto Rico is an American colony, all right? This is literally a Spanish-speaking portion of the United States. These people don't even have the right to vote, but they are American citizens, sort of. Kind of like Hawaii before they became a state. They don't get to vote on who the president is, but they still have to do what the United States government tells them to do. And we got people saying we should send Puerto Ricans home. They're Americans. They're Americans. No matter how you want to spread it, a difference of language shouldn't make a difference. We got lots of people here in the United States of America who are forced to speak languages other than their own, despite the fact that their families and languages have been here longer than, well, white Europeans anyway. And why do we always have to bring it down to white Europeans? Because we don't want to accept the fact that much of these things were, well, brown Europeans, Southern Italians. Christopher Columbus, when he came over here with Italians, Southern Italians. I'm not sure if you've ever met any Southern Italians actually from Italy. It's actually kind of difficult to tell one from a Polynesian. It's that whole distance from the equator thing. It's not a skin color thing that results in this. The skin color thing is just an excuse to divide and conquer. Kind of like pretending that because somebody was born somewhere else, that they're less of a human being and less, well, you guys want to use the word entitled, huh? Entitled to those rights. I think a human being is a human being even if they were born in Antarctica. Genetically, they are humans, and thus should be entitled to human rights. The inhumane treatment of human beings here in the United States, the fact that the largest amendment allows more slave labor hours, like Africa, that have literal diamond mines that are full of people who are convicted and therefore slaves. That's right, convicted slaves. That's what the 13th Amendment did. Why doesn't the United States intervene? Because the rights and laws in those countries are based off of American laws, like the 13th Amendment that makes slavery magically legal again if the person is convicted of a crime, whether or not they are wrongly accused or wrongly convicted is arbitrary. That's a lot of incentive. Slave labor. I believe that these business owners who are hiring foreign workers, they know exactly what they're doing. Like the beef plant in Fort Morgan, Colorado, what do? They hire on a bunch of foreign immigrants. They hire them on for a few months. They decide they don't want to pay them. They call immigration on themselves. Immigration comes in, cleans the place out. They hire on more people, and, well, like clockwork, every 3 months. Oh, we're having connection issues. And then there's the black issue, right? The problem with abuse against black people. Well, look at specifically who most of these black people are. Most of the white people abused as well. They're poor people, very specifically homeless people. The abuse is very specifically from the police. But we're supposed to ignore all of the victims because we have to focus on specifically those who want to pretend that they were targeted for color. A lot of people are targeted because they're breaking the law. Some people are targeted over their color. But the number one reason for being targeted is poverty. If you're broke, you don't have the money for a real lawyer, you have to take a public pretender. You already know that they're not going to defend you. They're going to do everything that they can to try to scare you into taking a plea deal or quitting. They don't want to do any work. They just want to get paid. And in a government position like that, there's no incentive for them to win. There's incentive for them to try to rub you off and brush you off and make you feel insignificant and like you're not a human being. And the only way to stop that is to have a friend or family member involved. For me, having to go through the evidence, I got to go through it, and then I have to find people that are willing to help me. And I got to try to spread time equally among that. And then there's the sheer number of people who said that they would help me how I needed. But in the end, what did they do? Did they keep their word to help me how I needed? Or did they make excuses after they'd made mistakes? See, that's what got Natalie Bollinger killed.
Hey man, I got you. Don't even worry about it.
That's what got a 9mm through Natalie Bollinger's left temple from 6 to 15 inches away
Okay, what's up?
at McIntosh Dairy outside Thornton, Colorado,
Sorry.
December 29th of 2017. Joseph Michael Lopez blew her brains out with her boyfriend's 9mm. When her mom and her sister wanted to do the horrible things that they did to her and to me because we were friends, the only thing Natalie could do was go back to what was familiar to her. And that was her predators. That was Tim Beeson. That was Ted Bollinger. Some of the worst human beings to ever grace the face of this planet. Both child molesters and rapists. Both of them. All Natalie had left after what her sister and her mom did, all she had left was her predators. All she had left to go back to was her predators. I was the only person in her life without ulterior motives. While everybody else was only interested in, well, you know what her dad was interested in? I want you to imagine what it was like for Natalie Bollinger being raped by her dad over and over again. Being beaten by her dad when he got drunk. Having nobody to talk to. The only thing that kept her from killing herself for years was thinking of me, and that wasn't even nice to her. I tried to run her off. That's because them little kids hanging out down there with them homeless people. It makes us all look bad when people do horrible things to us because of what they think. Having little kids hanging out like that, and they shouldn't be there when it is unsafe, when there are so many predators on the streets. All I ever did was try to run her off. Why did she think she was in love with me when I tried to run her off? Her and her sister both told me that they understood. They were both thankful that I did it. That they shouldn't have been there. That's not what you want to hear. When you've decided somebody's guilty and it's okay for you to harm them, you just do it. You don't fear the consequences because you know if you pick the right victim, there will not be any. You pick someone you can call mentally ill and you victimize them over and over and over again until they have a mental breakdown. And then you go, see, they're crazy. Well, that's just crazy. It also got my best friend's brains blown out all over a dairy farm. Beautiful. What a wonderful way to go. I begged people to kill me for over a year. I begged them to shoot me in the head. I told them I would dig my own grave. That's how much Natalie and her friends made my life a living hell. And in the end, Natalie stole my suicide. She stole it from me. It could have been my life that ended. I could have been rid of all of the abuse. I could have been rid of the neglect. I could have been rid of fake friends, pretty words out of the faces of people who aren't going to keep them. When you try to turn in abuse that you're enduring, and your friends and family want to talk over you, tell you how to think and feel, they don't even know what's going on, and they want to pass judgment on you. You know how hurtful that is? Meanwhile, Meanwhile, I'm still stuck in an unsafe and subservient situation. I don't hold animosity from my predators, but I do know for certain that they cannot be allowed to continue to harm people the way that they do. Something needs to be done to stop them. When I told on Officer Waylon Lolatai, he'd already been released from one police department for assaulting an inmate. He assaulted me and I tried to turn him in. Nobody listened, and he assaulted how many more people in 2017? A lot. At least 7 on camera. Everybody wants to, well, start off by not knowing squat, right? They don't know anything, but they want to tell me what to think and what to feel. A lot of people tell me, hey Sean, you should get some USB drives. You should get some USB drives. I get treated like I'm not trying if, of course, I don't do what I'm asked. You tell me to do the USB drive thing, what happens when I do? Are you going to help me do anything with it? No. Are you going to help me do anything with the information? Probably not. You tell me you'll help me to turn this in. Well, how can I believe that you're going to do that? A lot of people's excuse. They told me, oh, Sean, I believe you. When I tried to show them evidence of the abuse I'm taking. Instead of taking a look, they'd say, oh, I believe you. They never helped me to turn it in, and months later, they say, oh, well, I never saw any evidence. It's because you refused to look. And you use the words, I believe you. Human beings are horrible creatures.
Be careful with the floor. It's wet.
Do what? Oh, thank you, sir. People don't have to be horrible to each other. Comes from a different place than you. Doesn't mean that they're not just as human as you. And you know how I end these videos? Good to be with you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper or your sister's, but no victim left behind. Not even if they're homeless. Not even if they're Cuban. Not even if they're Australian or Canadian or, heaven forbid, Mexican or Native American. But you and I should get along so awfully.